Behind the Shades.
Mention a good point where you said that you've seen the ugly side, which is a lot of people in our community having a lot of kids with multiple fathers and they're unmarried. When I took myself out of that scenario, because I grew up in a poor area, when I moved to the suburbs and I started seeing everything family related, where you had parents bringing their kids to football, to hockey, to softball, to baseball, where you had the family dinners, where you'd
Mm-hmm.
go over and no one eats until everyone comes to the table, says
Mm-hmm.
grace, and do stuff like that. You're like, I can't get a little bit of a biscuit before someone comes over, but it's
Right.
like a different vibe. Did you, when you got married to your wife, who you love so much and for so long, and you started raising your
Mm-hmm.
children, did you reflect on the fact that you're like, hey, I have exactly what I want at this point in my life when many, many years ago, everything I saw was a complete opposite?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So for us, like I said, man, having a family is very educational. And I think I would suggest anyone who begins a family, you have to we one of our shows is Urban Academia. We had a guy who's a felon and myself who, I went to Vanderbilt University, which is a private college in the Southeastern Conference. So we're the we the ones that get beat up by the Tennessees and Alabamas and Georgias, right? But we're in the conference to kind of help you know, the averages in the classroom stay above board. Okay. So but what I took from all of that is, what I would suggest to people getting involved in a relationship and raising a family is kind of what we have as show rules on Urban Academia. And that is everybody's a little bit right, everybody's a little bit wrong. Each of us has something of value to share. That's just something, a foundation that just is for us. And that's worked out well because if you hold true to that, you're not trying to interrupt someone when they're talking because you respect them and you don't want to be interrupted. It seems fairly easy in theory, but as we all know in science, my fellow scientists out there, the theoretical yield is never 100% what the actual yield is. But if you have the mindset that if I see my the person in the relationship and I see they get frustrated, I want to now take on some of their frustrations with them and see what are the possible solutions. Even if it's just let me be frustrated and angry and go away with the kids somewhere. That's a solution. But you have to be willing to want to improve whatever negative situation arises and then improve upon all the positive situations. And I think as long as you have that format, I think that's also my theory as to why the Eastern world does so much better than we do here in the West. One of the blessings and the curses of American culture is this idea that you come here and you make up your own rules. Whereas in India, everyone has an agreed upon ideal of, the gods and the rules and how we work and how family works, right? And it's not that the women are so much, whipped into shape over there. It's an agreed upon cohesive collaborative unit where I know that I may not meet my husband until my wedding night, but I know that like here's what a wife does, and the husband is taught here's what to expect from your wife, and here's how what the wife expects from you, and it's such a shared, I don't know, hive mind sort of thing that you can have an arranged marriage and then they stay together for 60 years, and they learn to know each other and love comes after the marriage. So I don't know. That's one of those things that I just think both parties have to be willing to say, we want this to work. We're willing to do the work and we're willing to be flexible as to how to go along, creating a cohesive family unit.
So, one question I always like to ask married couples is how has your view of marriage changed before you got married and now that you are married?
All right. So in our religion as a Christian, we believe that we're one unit. So we always joke and say, like, hey, left side, hey, right side. We have that sort of playful banter. Now, so I'm going to try to answer this, with that duality in mind. I believe she would say that I came in supercharged and dogmatic because my first two children are stepchildren, even though I consider them my babies. So I was instant father. Like I got a wedding ring and two kids all at the same, swing of the sword there. So I remember being on the phone and like hearing something in the background and like, what's going on? Oh, she took this from that person. Oh, when I get there, I know how to handle that. And she was just like, okay. And yeah, so it turns out that I would say the dogma that I had as a single man, a very ordered life, any chaos I was seeking to snuff out instead of kind of riding along with some of the chaos, because you can never truly get rid of 100% of chaos, right? There's always going to be room for order and vice versa. And so I would say for me, though, um, starting to understand more about what it means to be the husband and man in the relationship and being head of household. Like, so for me, it was very traditional, like what dad says goes with the ideal of how can dad's word make sure his word rains down in fairness, right? Firm but fair and not oppressive. And I had to let that go rather quickly because my wife, is a strong Black woman from the South. Okay. So she helped to re educate me in that. And now we've come to an agreement that, yes, what you say go, you're a head of household. But what that means is responsibility. That means discipline. That means leading by example, knowing when you need to be the one talking, when you need to shut up, dad, and just listen and adjust. Like, so we have a whole system set up to where if you don't like the rule in the house, bring us a presentation. Tell me what the way, because what we do is we bring things to the table with our kids and say, hey, this is something that we want to get done. Like, say, we're going to keep the common areas clean. How can we accomplish that? Here's how we want to do it because we know it's effective from our experience. And if they don't like it, they can submit an alternative. Not just say I don't wanna, but hey, what about this way? And then we negotiate. We teach our children how to negotiate, with respect and with not just I don't wanna, but with show me those receipts. Why do you think this will work? Hey, let's do a trial period for a month. Hey, let's talk about it. How did it go? So that's kind of what's changed since I've gotten married. It's being more of a running like a company that's working collaboratively versus, man at the top wagging his finger and, delegating everything.
It's like gone are the days of the drill sergeant, right? Where you step through the door, do this, do that, and and don't question anything. But
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea a lot because it encourages input from children, right? And sometimes children may feel powerless within their own home because it's like, well, these are my parents' rules and I have to follow it. And I may not understand, but they're my parents. But you give them
Mm-hmm.
responsibility and you give them empowerment, saying that, hey, this is what we're looking at. Let's clean the common area this way. And someone may say, hey, dad, hey, mom, have you thought about doing this way? No, okay, that sounds like a reasonable idea. Let's do like a
Right.
7-day trial or 14-day trial. Is that accurate description?
Yes, sir. You nailed it. You nailed it. And all of that is flexible. What we don't allow our kids to do is, I read the book by Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, 12 Rules for Chaos, and Order. Um, and one of the rules was you don't let your children do anything that you don't like. And as you read that chapter, it's like, oh, because society as a whole probably is not going to like that. And you want society to like your child, to give them the best opportunity for the best opportunities. That's the goal here. Not equal, but um, equal in outcome, but the equal opportunity, right? And what we believe from our experiences and experiences of people we trust is that manners go a long way, right? Soft tones go a long way. Listening skills and things of that nature go a long way. So that's the things we try to, celebrate in our home. And anytime they have a little attitude or eye roll, it's like, hey, I want you to sit down here. that hurt my feelings and it made me feel frustrated, which has the potential to make me feel angry and take that anger out on you because I have a considerable amount of power as dad. You don't want to do that. Be smart. And so that's what we try to give our kids. And I love that you use the word empowerment, especially having two teenage daughters. I want y'all to be okay with saying no and meaning it and sticking with it. Don't ever get yourself in a position where you say, well, I guess I'll let this thing, whatever that thing is, I'll let this happen because I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. So be okay with risking offense.